Today, loneliness is relentlessly on the rise, casting its shadow on different countries, places, and people. And admittedly, data is hard to capture on this, but it is always moving, lurking. Even if we can't see it, we feel it. Regardless on whether or not you blame this on technology or infrastructure or both, I think we can all agree its impact has been seismic. You may feel lonely, and that's not a topic to take lightly. Some people need serious guidance and help to be able to combat this feeling. It's scary and even disorienting at times, but outside of professional help, what can we do to at least help improve the problem, to make it easier and more convenient for us to get together? Today, my friends at Untitled Planning and I want to show you 3 unassuming places that are combating social deterioration and this loneliness epidemic at the ground level, places that we all have access to. Because the mental and physical duress that social isolation and otherness have caused us pose a greater threat to all of us now more than ever. Because we owe it to ourselves to at least try to find a cure for our loneliness. This is me at the beginning of college. Excited to take part in all the different events and quirky traditions that older students would reminisce with a glimmer in their eye, that equally reflected this almost yearning to be in my shoes again. It goes so fast, they would say, as a last-ditch effort to try and turn back time. And so I continued on, playing in the annual If It Snowed cadet versus student snowball fight, and attending the local football games, cheering for my team to go and win, even though I probably wasn't really aware of what was happening. As a design student, I would take part in the annual competitions, getting closer to the people in my major, and commiserating with them when we would have to pull all-nighters. Although, if you speak to any of them now, they will definitely tell you that I did that once and never wanted to do it again. Then, over the years, I started to realize something. Slowly, the fondness that these older students had over their memories at their time in college began to make sense to me. But from my perspective, I understood that this has to do more with place than it did with anything else, because it's probably one of the only times in their life where their friends are 2 steps out the door from where they live. You actually make up part of a community that you feel belonging to. It's going to the local bars and getting the weird drinks that only people from your school know the name of, and singing the weird songs that your school has held as tradition for centuries. It's what makes us different, and that's worth being proud about. And that's because universities are strong social institutions. Today, the world is stricken by social poverty, something that's become much more prevalent for North American society. Seth Kaplan, the author of Fragile Neighborhoods, explains that real community produces an ecosystem in which every member is deeply embedded. It requires commitment to a certain social order, a certain set of social norms and institutions, and usually is tied to a certain place. To date, some of the most important and well-recognized social institutions that we're aware of are religious institutions. Groups of people that adopt certain belief systems and take part in communal activities, whether they have religious meaning behind them or not, but takes place in buildings or schools that symbolize the social glue that bonds these people together. But religion is not the only example of this. Universities, in many ways, have become unique examples of social institutions across all of North America, offering students, through discrete density practices, close access to amenities. They also incentivize people being able to get together and connect socially and ultimately create memories around these places. You may not be friends with everybody, but there's often a sense of camaraderie that's shared amongst people who live in the same place and have similar experiences. Sadly, that university experience can be fleeting, or it's not for everybody, or quite frankly, it may not even be achievable financially. What's more, as they begin to grow and expand, we often see that they're gentrifying the towns that are around the immediate campuses. When rent rates increase closer to campus, it pushes a lot of the townies out, which ultimately inconveniences their work commute by making it a lot longer. And therefore not promoting a socially sustainable and well-integrated community. On the one hand, gentrification erases the effects of place-based discrimination. That is the unfair or unequal treatment of people based off of their geographical location or place of residence. But this solution blindsides the cultural significance that these places and towns have for the people that currently live there. Bulldozing over red lines that once shaped its meager growth patterns to replace it with new ones that are hiking up market rates and making the area inaccessible for the community that once lived there. Only leaving them to discover the same kinds of problems in new communities that they're unfamiliar with. One of the cornerstone institutions for these traditionally minority communities are barbershops.
Gina's Beauty Shop.
As celebrated in iconic movies like The Beauty Shop starring Queen Latifah, and the spin-off The Barbershop, and the subject of docuseries like Tenir Salon, barbershops, particularly Black barbershops, hold significant cultural and historical importance within Black communities. Serving as more than just places for haircuts and braids, these establishments have often functioned as communal hubs where men gather to engage in candid conversations about various topics, from politics to personal experiences. The barbershop and beauty salons serve as a safe space for open dialogue, fostering a sense of community and camaraderie. Black barbershops have played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement, serving as meeting places for activists and providing a platform for discussions on social issues.
I thought about what Dr. King said. I've been to the mountaintop, and I look over and saw the promised land. I may not get there with you, but you will get to the promised land. Just keep on keeping on.
The barbershop represents sites of economic empowerment and a space where cultural identity is celebrated and intergenerational knowledge is passed down. It's not just barbershops, but beauty salons and Black hair care stores provide valuable third places, counter publics, and economic hubs within and across Black communities. Enter Take Care Beauty Supply and Curly Hair Salon, one of the few and the newest Black-owned hair salons to open in Toronto that aims to fully embody this principle. Founded by two sisters, Haley and Mackenzie Campbell, Take Care aims to be a community hub for cultural exchange, education, and gathering, all within a welcoming environment. And with a shortage of Black-led and Black-owned social infrastructure in Canada, small hubs offer a valuable step in rebuilding the network of cultural hotspots that allow for these special moments of community celebration, learning, and discourse. But as predominantly Black neighborhoods with a rich cultural heritage, such as Toronto's Little Jamaica, are threatened by gentrification, transit-induced displacement, and years of policy and financial neglect at the hands of the city, most of the Black-owned businesses in this neighborhood have closed. And unfortunately, so have the historic Black-owned local barbershops and salons that contribute to the sense of collective identity, culture, and belonging. Erasure is not the answer, because it does not help any of us feel less lonely, especially when places like barbershops can often be a point of refuge in hyperdensities and for those who may be suffering from urban isolation.
In a world where 55% of the world's population resides in cities, projected to rise up to 70% in the year 2050, urbanization, once seen as a symbol of progress, has birthed a complex issue: urban isolation. Rooted in the decline of communities in mass societies, urban isolation has evolved into a multi-dimensional challenge, defined by low expectancy of social inclusion, higher living costs results in segregated communities, gated societies, and limited access to resources, playing a role in societal interactions. The consequences of urban isolation is rooted in worsened health, physically and socially, with a UK study showing that those living in greater densities are at higher risk of societal and urban loneliness. The challenge is to design cities that create progress without sacrificing community, ensuring the price of urbanization is not paid in the currency of isolation. But how?
Libraries are special places. They're some of the first that democratized our access to learning. But today they play an even more crucial role in strengthening the bonds in our communities. Libraries are the kinds of places where people with different backgrounds, passions, and interests can take part in a living democratic culture. They're the kind of places where the public, private, and philanthropic sectors can work together to reach for something higher than the bottom line. It's a one-of-a-kind national public institution that offers a unique sense of place to each community that it belongs to. And because they have eyes and ears on our community's triumphs and trials, they're the best places to understand what our locales need to increase the strength of the communities that surround them. The 2023 State of Libraries report, yes, that is a real report. It's pretty amazing, actually. I'd highly recommend you check it out. It shows that librarians and libraries played a pivotal role in community development in and outside of the library at the local level. They helped the unhoused have access to tech and also adopted approaches like a library of things method that essentially rented out trolleys so that people that lived in food deserts could have easier access to the grocery store and food, proving that libraries can loan out more than just books. Where gentrification may be seen as a cure to loneliness because it helps to dispel a lot of the issues that these places may be dealing with on a daily basis, libraries actually show that we can build strong communities again by caring about the people that make them up today.
Social isolation and lack of resources is a real problem for many, many families. The library is unique in that it offers the resources, the tools, the information, and the inspiration. The rest is pure alchemy.
We need each other. Regardless of whether or not you're surrounded by technology and live in the suburbs, or have no access to Wi-Fi, or live in a hyper-dense city. Talking to strangers, even just for a moment, provides us with social assurance and validates our worth in society. We are connected all the time and have more free time than ever before. And in some cases, that's for the better, but
To combat urban isolations, we need practical solutions rooted in inclusive urban planning. This involves creating public spaces that encourage social interaction, such as creative mixed-use spaces, such as green spaces. Having community-driven initiatives, like neighborhood and cultural programs, play a crucial role in fostering stronger social bonds.
In Toronto, and in Little Jamaica in particular, the city has launched a cultural districts program study to evaluate how to create a collaborative cultural policy and placemaking framework that supports local economies, communities, and infrastructure. Addressing an issue like this requires collaborative, coordinated action by municipal and regional governments, urban planners and city builders, and the network of grassroots collectives, nonprofit organizations, and of course, the businesses and residents impacted by the displacement.
we need to care about each other, and starting at the most local level again. By just listening and observing to what our current social problems are in the spaces that we live in, we can start to formulate solutions that are more tailored to our communities, instead of just trying to erase these problems with blanket solutions that have been proven to be less effective long term. And actually nourishing what makes our communities great will slowly but surely start to fill our shadowed world with light. Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and give a huge shout out to Untitled Planning for helping make it possible. I actually wanted to ask you a favor. Do you mind commenting down below different ideas that you have and actions that you feel are worth taking at the local level? Ultimately, I really want this community to feel like a safe space where we can foster these kinds of ideas and have productive discussions. Other than that, again, I just really appreciate you and your continued support, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.